Teaching Satanism in schools sounds like the stuff of horror movies, but a US court ruling on religious freedoms has enabled devil worshippers in Florida to hand out educational material about their beliefs to kids at state schools. Marina Portnaya has this report.
Public education in America often uses coloring books to teach young Americans about math, science, and current events. This year, a new book filled with games and lessons about Satanism could be distributed to students attending public school in Florida's Orange County. The 10-page Satanic Children's Big Book of Activities features characters named Annabelle and Damien who demonstrate rituals to explain Satanism. This expanding wealth of information America's young minds was made possible after a Florida judge last month ruled that if the Orange County School District allowed Christian groups to disseminate Bibles and other materials in its schools, then other religious and atheist groups should be given the same right to distribute their material. And followers of the Antichrist seized on the decision to treat all faiths equally. A spokesman for the Satanic Temple tells Raw Story that, quote, if a public school board is going to allow religious pamphlets and full Bibles to be distributed to students, as is the case in Orange County, Florida, we think the responsible thing to do is to ensure that these students are given access to a variety of different religious opinions, as opposed to standing idly by while one religious voice dominates the discourse and delivers propaganda to youth, unquote. In a ruling that was aimed at maintaining religious neutrality, students who may never have intended to learn about Christianity, atheism, or Satanism will now receive an introduction to all three. Marina Portnaya, RT.
So to argue for atheistic religion is to argue that our values are no less deeply held than any of those protected under religious belief. And I defer often to this quote from Jefferson. He was writing in the Statute of Virginia for religious freedom, and it was one of his proudest achievements. He had it written on his grave that he had authored this piece, while failing to mention that he had been president. And it says, all men shall be free to profess and by argument to maintain their opinions in matters of religion, and that the same shall in no wise diminish, enlarge, or affect their civil capacities. And he went on in his memoirs to elaborate that the protection of opinion was meant to be universal, and the document included within the mantle of its protection the Jew and the Gentile, the Christian and the Mahometan, the Hindu and infidel of every denomination. So I think it's a real mistake for people to say that atheism must be completely divorced from religion or object to the notion that there can be atheistic religions. I don't feel that atheism is a religion, but religions can be atheistic, and people should be able to protect their values, whether they're atheist or not. So we've been involved in political action, which you might be aware of, and when we're trying to push for these issues. And most recently was the case in Florida. Are you guys aware of that? We put together an activity book in Orange County Public Schools in Florida. They were allowing for the passive distribution of evangelical material in the school. And this was supposed to be not an Establishment Clause issue because it was an open forum. Supposedly everybody's invited, any religion can come. Atheists came, and they've been fighting this case for 3 years until they decided to take the nuclear option, as it's now called. And now it's been dubbed Lucian's Law. It was on the Friendly Atheist blog after me. That once everything else fails, bring the Satanists in, and that's what happened.
Children's coloring book is creating controversy in Orlando, but if you read between the lines, the issue is a lot deeper than black and white. The Orange County School Board is considering changing its police regarding religious materials after a group of local Satanists asked to hand out a satanic-themed coloring book. The request is in response to the board allowing other religious groups, that is, to leave Bibles and booklets for students.
Bible distributions are a good thing. They haven't caused any problems. They've gone on without incident. But now by creating controversy, this group is maybe perhaps getting what it wants.
In my office alone, I received close to 11,000 emails in one 48-hour period on this issue. And it gives you an idea of the level of disruption that it was causing.
A spokesperson for the Satanic Temple says it's laughable that religious groups think that the inability to distribute their materials exclusively is
Finally, the
discriminatory
chair
against
of the school board had this long overdue epiphany that that religion has its place in the household but not in schools. He actually said things to that effect in light of this after 3 years of the Freedom from Religion Foundation and other secular groups fighting on the topic. So that was pretty laughable. And it was funny because this has spawned a lot of controversy and a lot of witticisms and dialogue. But one I really liked was Brian Fisher. He's the host of some radio talk program, Focal Point. It's a highly religious thing. He wrote an article called, "If First Amendment isn't just about Christianity, we have to allow Satanism." And he seems to be on the right track, except for the word if. You know, it should be because, but he wrote this on November 19th, 2014, which also gives you an indication of how late in the day it is when I start considering what I'll say at the lecture. He said, "But because low information educators have so mangled our history, and activist judges have so mangled our Constitution, most Americans, even educated ones, do not understand this basic fact about the First Amendment, that by the word religion in the First Amendment, the founders meant only the various expressions of Christianity."
The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution includes the important provision that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It doesn't actually say anything about a separation between church and state, but that's the popular interpretation that's propagated in today's media and culture. Because of that, we've got the incredibly stupid PC police going bananas anytime any religion is brought up in a public forum. Add in a dash of Florida, and this is the story you get. Recently, a judge there gave the green light to a Christian group to hand out Bibles in an Orange County school district. That ruling aroused the anger of David Williamson of the Central Florida Free Thought community, who sued the district over its initial unwillingness to allow atheist literature in schools. A judge dismissed his case after the school board decided to allow the atheist material, and that opened the door for every religion to start bombarding schools with their own belief systems. And guess who just walked right through that door? Yep, Satan! The Satanic Temple decided to circulate their own pamphlets at the Orange County schools. Entitled the Satanic Children's Big Book of Activities, the pamphlet contains child-friendly satanic lessons. Lucian Greaves, the spokesman for the Satanic Temple, said the responsible thing to do is ensure students are given access to a variety of differing religious opinions, as opposed to standing idly by while one religious voice dominates the discourse. The Satanists have a point there, and they aren't alone in making it. Because you know who else just walked right through that PC police door in Florida? The International Raelian Movement, a religion based on UFOs. They also intend on handing out their religious materials to these kids now too. Religion is constantly used as justification for murder and political agendas. It's a touchy subject for a lot of reasons, so I understand wanting to remove it from our laws altogether. And I firmly believe that if you're going to study one religion, you should study many. But by calling in the PC police and hype circus, we're also removing something else related to religion, and that's a sense of morality. If we still had that, we wouldn't be politicizing innocent school children with a bunch of publicity stunts. Tonight, let's talk about that by following me on Twitter @TheResident.